Yep, we got our new rear quarter panel. It's going to go on this car. This rear quarter panel had a ton of body filler, and the metal is just in really bad shape. It's not really rusted, it's just dented everywhere. And the smartest thing to do for me is to replace the rear quarter panel. This rear quarter panel cost me 200 bucks. I thought it was the same color. It clearly isn't. Yesterday, which is the previous video, we took all the inside structure out of this by removing the spot welds with the drill and getting it ready to just plop on here. Today, I'm gonna pull the rear glass and cut out this rear quarter panel. I have to do this the opposite way that I took the inner structure out of this. So I'm gonna take the plasma cutter and I'm gonna cut the rear quarter panel and take it out the best I can to leave the structure as structurally as I can, the way it came from the factory. So this will just drop right in. It's probably not going to drop right in, is my point. But we're going to do the best that we can. I was planning on hammering and dolling out this nastiness down here. It's possible I'll end up cutting through the door jamb and setting it in that way. But we'll see. I don't have any real plan at all other than removing the glass and cutting this rear quarter panel out. But let's get after it. This is the first time physically being inside the wagon. What I'm gonna do is remove the stuff that looks like holds the window in. And I've got myself a crack sack. It's labeled passenger rear glass. So I'm going to remove the screws and save them all because I'm going to be putting a window back in. Not sure if it's going to be this specific window because I have a plan, which you'll find out later. So I think this corner needs to come in first, and that goes like this. So let's see if I can get this. Well, this doesn't seem very fragile. And there we have it. So what I've got to do now is drill out all the same holes that I did on the other one, which I'm not wild about. So instead, I'm going to grab the plasma cutter and cut this rear quarter panel because I'm more excited about finding out whether a plasma cutter will cut through Bondo than I am finishing the project. So we're going to get the plasma torch out and make a mess. Well, let's see. Wish this pole wasn't here, but it's there. Well, that's not straight at all. We're going through the Bondo though. You know, if I would have thought about this for like at least 3 minutes, maybe even less, I would have thought about taking this stuff apart down below. Well, it's off. Well, at least a part of it is. Very happy to be removing this. Well, we can see where the previous damage affected this. If I would have thought about this a little bit harder, I would have saved the inside fender piece off of the new quarter panel, but I'm gonna have to straighten this out. Now I've got to think about this and figure out how I'm gonna get this off. So the reason I didn't cut this all the way back where the other quarter panel is there's this seam right here. Hopefully you can see it. There's this seam that I could potentially use and just cut or get this separated. I don't know how they have it. I think it's spot welded. But I could just cut it or whatever right here and maybe even down the middle of this or cut it on the outside and put my new rear quarter panel in up here and not mess around with the rear section that curves in, and then have it come across up here because there's another seam here. It would still require some welding, but if you weld thin metal like this to a piece that's got metal underneath it, it's a little bit easier to do when it doesn't warp like it does butt welding. So I'm just going to leave this the way that it is right now and figure out how I'm going to get that front section out and figure out where I'm going to cut it. You ever cut something out like this and you're like, oh boy, what did I just do? I used to, but I don't anymore. You got to go this far to get where you're going. But we got the rear window out. The neighbor really likes revving his engine. I don't think it's good for it. So maybe you can see better what I'm looking at here, but this is my new rear quarter panel, and this is the old one, and there's a seam right here, and there's a seam down the middle. So I could technically separate it here, separate it along here, and then separate the same way on this and set it on here. If I do that, I would want to separate this first and see how easy it is to do and how clean it turns out. Because if I don't like the way that it separates or preps, I could still go further back. So I think that's my first step, is to decide, cut into this and see how easy it is to separate it to where I could just butt these up. Man, he likes revving that car up. I don't think it's good for it. But I can see this line right across the top here. And what I'm going to do is, well, you know what? I got a better idea. Well, that broke my bit. This not gonna work now. Dang it! I need to buy some drill bits. You know of a good deal on drill bits? Let me know. Because I'm tired of breaking them. Let's see if this will do it. Man, that stinks. How did they do that? Well, why won't it just come undone? Smells like I'm at a really bad cookout. But if you've ever barbecued chicken with pressure treated wood, it smells about like that. Yeah, I tried it. It wasn't good. Well, now I can see more spot welds. See if I can drill those out and get this piece loose, and then we'll just take it back here and probably across right here. All right, sir. I'm going to take a quick break and come back and drill these holes out, which is what I don't want to do, but I got to do it to get where I'm going. So I'll be back. I don't know why I say I'll be back. It just starts right back up where I left off, but it's just kind of fun to say that, I guess. And I'm back. I set this here just to see how close it was to being the same. And now that the old quarter panel's gone, I can't really tell. So I'm hoping that it's the same. Pretty sure that it is because it's got this taillight in it. And it even says this, Chevrolet. So I'm procrastinating by talking too much. So I'm going to drill some holes and try and get this upper sill out. Let's get after it. I'm going to try something here. I don't think it's going to work. But if you don't try it, you don't know. And I'm pretty sure it's not going to work, but I just want to make sure. What I'm going to try and do is use my air gun to undo the spot welds. So here's the deal. Don't use an air hammer. That made a mess. Man, that's horrible. Let me show you. So now I have to clean up everything from the air hammer. Bad idea. Don't use an air hammer. Just drill them out. Man, that's bad. So I've got to drill out these spot welds on the inside of this door jamb, and I can kind of see them. They're like little rust spots. But to see them better, I'm going to hit them with the wire wheel. I run these in reverse sometimes because it works better, since the brush has been running the other direction for so long. It really tears the paint off. So anyway, that helps you, great. When I'm wire brushing to see where the spot welds are, I'm getting through the paint, and what happens is some of the paint gets left behind, and that's usually a good sign that that's where your spot weld is. And then once you get the metal all the way off, you can see imperfections in the metal, and that's where it is. I just can't decide where I want to cut this. I can go all the way down here on the bottom of the door jamb, but my new panel's pretty rusty there, and this one's pretty solid. I'm just going to cut across here and take this out. I need to go get my glasses. Well, I want to get it cut at the top. So I'm going to cut this here, knowing that I'm going to probably take more off. But I might not take more off. I might take more off of the new rear quarter panel. I decided down here I'm going to go off this hole. For now, I'm going to take and cut it across here. And I don't want to mangle this up because I'm going to use it as a template to cut on the other panel. Oh, I see. More spot welds. That's where we want it off. That right there. Cool. There you have it, our template. So now that I got my piece off, I can take it and lay it on here. I can line up these holes and line up these holes, and I can mark it where I took it off. And I'm going to cut it a little long. So this is where I'm at. This is the piece I just took out of the car, so this much is left on the car still. Let me double check. Yeah, so I can, what I'm thinking about doing is cutting this section out and then cut it here, maybe across here, straighten this section out a little bit and lay it in on the car. Because this down here is not good. Well, this wraps up today. Hopefully tomorrow we'll have this rear quarter panel sitting on the car. It was definitely more challenging than I thought it would be. I didn't think it was going to be easy, but it's off. So I got no complaints. We'll have to undo the seams on the back of this to bolt up to the car, and we'll keep chipping away at it. Thanks for watching.